So does your voice emanate confidence, authority, and presence? When you speak, do people listen to you? Or do you find that you lose people? They switch off, they talk over you, they ignore you, or they just look bored. So we know that from research that we all make decisions about people within a few seconds of meeting them. We all do this. And we're making decisions consciously and unconsciously. And this includes how we interpret and perceive someone's voice. This could show up in terms of, do we like this person? Do we think they're genuine and authentic? Do we want to get to know them more? Do we want to engage more with them? Do we think they're intelligent? Do we think they're passionate and driven and motivated? And do we want to do business with them? Do we want to work with this person? So being able to communicate your ideas, your thoughts and feelings clearly, articulately and coherently is so critical to your success. And I'm going to just share 3 examples of very, very successful people who have identified communication skills, public speaking, as really critical to their success. So the first one is Warren Buffett, the American billionaire, who has famously talked about how excellent communication skills can increase your net worth by as much as 50%. And he's also talked very openly about it was something that he really struggles with at the beginning and had to invest in. Another example is Stephen Bartlett, for those of you in the UK, famous multimillionaire, very young, I think he's in his late 20s. And he has said that, I can't think of a more important skill in life and business. And finally, again, for the UK, sorry, it's a bit UK biased, but that's where I am. Nick Jenkins, the founder of Moonpig, the greeting cards company, he's also talked about, and he's a multimillionaire now as well, he's also talked about how being able to persuade people of your ideas is absolutely critical to your success. And that means being able to articulate them clearly, to be coherent. And he said that if you can't articulate yourself properly, you're not going to be listened to. But first of all, I would like to make it really clear, I'm not talking about accent here. I'm talking primarily about voice tone and voice quality. So unless you've got a really strong accent or dialect, that the only people that could understand you are from your town or your village, then really what we're talking about and what we're reading into most of the time is voice quality and voice tone. Now, of course, this is all a perception and we're all going to perceive things differently through our own filters of our own mind. But these are some common themes that I see with certain kinds of voice qualities. So first of all, if your voice is very quiet and timid and weak, that can be perceived as, I don't really think I'm all that. I don't think I have anything of real value to share. You're almost apologizing for being there. You don't really believe in yourself, and there's a kind of lack of confidence that is essentially being reflected in your voice. Similar with people that talk really fast or mumble a lot, because often they go hand in hand, not always, but often. Again, it's this idea of, don't look at me, I've got nothing important to say, just let's move on to the next person really quickly. So I'm going to talk really, really fast so we can get me over and done with. So again, it's this idea of kind of hiding. I don't really believe that I've got anything of value, so don't look at me. And then that's what we actually create, sadly. Another one is on the other side of the coin. Maybe your voice is very loud and domineering and maybe even has been perceived as aggressive. And again, that could be a reflection of, is this person actually going to listen? Can we actually collaborate with this person? Are they someone that you could actually have a conversation with and talk about things with, or are they just going to want to be heard all the time? Another example, speaking slow and very monotone. Again, they can often go together as well. Again, not always, but often when people talk very slow, it's often very monotone. And again, it's this idea of, it's reflecting this lack of energy, this lack of passion, this lack of drive and maybe ambition, which can be reflected in the voice in this way. Now, I just want to point out, it doesn't mean this is the case, but this is how the voice can be perceived, because often how we feel inside is different to how our voice is being reflected. And then the final one is the kind of raspy, croaky voice. Again, for me, because often when a voice is very raspy and croaky, the pitch is low, the voice is being pulled back. So again, it's this sense of hiding. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. I don't really have anything important to say. I don't really feel that confident. So we just pull the voice back. If you're trying to go for a big promotion, if you're trying to win investment and you're going to a presentation, if you're leading a team and wanting to kind of motivate and inspire them to do things, if you're trying to persuade people of your ideas like Nick talks about, or if you're doing media interviews or big speaking engagements at conferences and events, your voice absolutely matters. It is critical to your success. And it could literally be making or losing you money. So first of all, if you do perceive that you fall into any of these categories, this is not about beating yourself up. This is not about making you wrong. Because in my work, those voice qualities that I've talked about just now are really just vocal habits that you've fallen into. They are not who you are. They are not the potential of your voice. They are not your voice. And I know we can get very wrapped up in the identity of our voice. Like, I am the person that talks fast. I am the person that talks loud. I am the person that talks quiet. So we can get very attached, but that's just the ego. It is not who you are. That is not your voice. So the first thing is really just with compassion to start to notice these in your voice. And then we have to dig a little bit deeper, because the voice is just an expression of your inner world. And when you're not conscious, the voice is going to be expressing your conditioning. It's going to be reflecting what you believe you've been taught implicitly or explicitly is going to keep you safe in the world. And again, most people are not conscious of this. They just think their voice is the way it is and that's it. But the true voice, which you all have access to, unless you've had any kind of major pathology on your voice, is powerful, is expressive, and it's open and free. So just going to give you a couple of examples of how these voice qualities can be created. So for example, if you grew up in a home where you were shouted at a lot and told to be quiet, you very likely will grow up with a quiet voice. And it doesn't mean that a bigger, more powerful voice is available. It's just you've learned to survive. Okay, I'm just going to be quiet and keep my voice shut down. You could also have grown up in a family where there's lots of big personalities, there's lots of people with loud voices, and you just couldn't be bothered to compete with all the noise. So you were just the quiet one. Could be the other side of the coin though too. You could have grown up in a home with everyone's got a big voice, everyone likes to be heard, and you've decided, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. So you then join the club and you've all got big voices. So again, there's no right or wrong. It's just looking at your upbringing, looking at your environment, looking at the people around you, the people that really had the greatest impact on you growing up, and looking at how did my voice develop in that environment. So this is going to look different for every single person. And even if you grew up in the same home with the same parents, because it's not about the situation, it's never about the situation, it's about our interpretation and perception of the situation. So, I mean, I know I'm one of three, and I know that my voice is different to my sister's voice. I mean, it's not totally different. Obviously, we've got a similar accent, but the way we use our voice is quite different. And I also think, and this is not based on any science, this is just my own opinion, but I also think birth order also plays a role in the voice that we develop as well, because I know for me, being the youngest of three, by the time my parents had me, they were just like, just do whatever, Anuska, you know, we're just exhausted now, so just go and do whatever. So they were much more relaxed with me versus my sister, and that was reflected in my voice as well. So all of this we have to take into consideration. Not even if we were brought up in the same home as others, you might notice yourself with your siblings that you might even one of you might be loud, one of you might be quiet, One of you might be kind of loud and quiet. It doesn't, you know, it's not to do with the environment, it's your perception and interpretation of that environment. So an exercise you can try is just start to think about your own voice. And obviously, if you perceive any of this in your voice, if you don't, then that's great. But if you do, start to notice what that voice persona is for you. What's your sort of dominant voice persona? Is it the weak, gentle, quiet voice? Is it I talk really fast all the time? Is it I'm very monotone? I'm very slow when I speak? Like, what is it for you? Then just start to question, and you can journal this, you can meditate on this, you can just sort of put the thought into your mind and see what happens. But just start to play around with, how has this voice quality or voice habit helped me survive, helped me to feel safe in the world, helped to protect me? Because I promise you, it is not who you really are. And if you really want to break free, you absolutely can. And if you are someone that's really looking to go to the next level in your business or career, your voice really, really matters, then it absolutely is something that you really want to be looking at, because as we've already talked about, it's probably one of the most important skills you can develop. So if you're interested in doing this work privately and really exploring your voice on a much deeper level, both from the sort of psychological side and of course the sort of physical, the technical, the functional, the paralinguistic side, then I'll put the link below, because I do work with people privately, and that is really going to give you the greatest, quickest and most profound results. You can certainly start to build some awareness, but actually, particularly when we're dealing with the persona and the ego, it can be very tricky, because it's often our own resistance and our own internal conflict around this that can hold us back. And by that, I mean, you know, we may think that we want to slow down and have people listen to us, but actually maybe there's a fear of being listened to, and maybe we're not conscious of it. So keeping this habit in place is actually serving us on some level. So I hope I haven't completely lost you with that, but it's a fascinating topic. So please do comment below if you've got any thoughts or questions on this, and do please like, share and subscribe if you found this video interesting, and I will see you on my next video.